is showtime at IMEX America 2017 in Las Vegas. Thousands of meeting professionals are walking the show floor already, heading to meetings, networking, and of course the education is continuing on the show floor. If you couldn't be here with us in Las Vegas, well, that's why we're coming to you live on MPI-TV, sponsored by Caesars Entertainment. We've got quite a lineup today of speakers with some pretty powerful women. So if you have any questions, I want to encourage you to ask us questions. We're going to be going live throughout the week with various keynotes and industry leaders. So make sure you stay with us every single day at 10:30 Pacific time. So I want to jump right into our first speaker, Christina Roberts. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Christine is actually the new executive director of the MPI Foundation.
Yes.
Super exciting.
Super excited. So in week 3 now with the MPI Foundation, delighted to be joining the foundation. I've been a long-standing member for MPI with MPI for many years, too many to count, and also as a chapter leader. So it's very exciting for me to now have the opportunity to give back to the foundation, both personally and professionally.
You know, Christine, we talk about volunteerism a lot in this industry, especially within MPI. So let's talk about, you know, your efforts. You're wanting to volunteer as an executive director, and why that was so important for you.
Well, the foundation specifically, and you know, I have grown up in this industry as a meeting and event professional here, and many people have, and the foundation specifically focuses on the professional development of our members and really encourages people to grow themselves through education. And what we do is provide the opportunity through scholarships, through grants, through educational research that helps bring the industry forward. So my role with the foundation will help me to give back to really developing a lot of those young professionals and seasoned professionals as they continue throughout their career.
Yeah, it really is it changes lives for folks in the industry, right? So if you can talk about, I mean, obviously you're still working through your initiatives. You've been, you know, in office, if you will, for 3 weeks.
Yes.
So where are you at now with this course of trying to figure out what your initiatives are moving forward for the year?
Well, I'm going to continue on some of the fantastic work that's already been done with my predecessors and certainly with the Global Board of Trustees and our valuable volunteers that have contributed through the councils, and continue to raise money through the efforts to bring more people awareness about the foundation, about the great things that we do, about the help that we provide to industry professionals in need of scholarships because they're not able to attend, whether it's financially, professionally, their organizations won't support that. So my initiatives are focusing on how to maintain the continued success and how to grow the foundation and involve more and more individuals.
And one way to get involved is actually by attending a really awesome event called Rendezvous that's kind of taken its own name, its own tone in the MPI industry. So let's talk about Rendezvous. It's happening here at IMEX America. It's Wednesday night, so tomorrow night. And it's not too late to get tickets, right?
No, it's not too late to get tickets. Rendezvous is taking place tomorrow night at Dre's nightclub. It's going to be a fantastic event. Starts at 10 o'clock and runs until 1 or 2 a.m. or so. Tickets are still available. We have kiosks throughout the show floor and right at the main entrance there. So just stop by today or tomorrow. We expect it to be a sellout crowd, and it's going to be a fantastic, fun evening to celebrate with your peers, to network at night under the stars at Dre's nightclub, and give back to the foundation.
Awesome, Christine. Well, thank you so much, and congratulations again on your new role. We are looking forward to keeping up with you as the executive director of the MPI Foundation, so we really appreciate your service to the industry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so from one powerful woman in the industry to another. This time, a keynote speaker that took the stage here at the MPI keynote this morning at IMEX America, and this woman is just incredible. She helps businesses, both small and large companies, really sort of increase productivity in the workplace. So I want to welcome on set with me Juliet Fun.
Hello.
Hi, Juliet. Now, it is always such a pleasure to speak with you. If you have not heard Juliet speak, it is a treat because you are just, I told her earlier before we were on camera that it's just the perfect blend of emotion, and you're funny, but you're also really business savvy, and you deliver some really strong tips that people can actually walk away with.
Thank you.
So your focus is on white space.
Right.
For those who have never heard you speak and don't know what white space is, can you clarify for us?
So the technical definition is white space is a strategic pause taken between activities. So it's the interlaced open time that allows you to step back from being frenetically busy all the time and be thoughtful and strategic, engaged in your work, in a culture, it turns into a way of working where thoughtfulness is respected and prioritized over constant exertion and reactivity all the time.
You know, I loved what you mentioned during your presentation this morning about how, you know, the lack of white space in a workplace can actually affect your production costs. I mean, it can affect budgets and all of everything in between. So elaborate on that and how that actually really does impact it negatively.
Sure, it's kind of the most underexplored area of this work, because in manufacturing, as an example, when they have waste, they're very aggressive about taking that out. But in businesses where people spend time in meetings and email and reports and decks, there's an enormous amount of costly waste, and it just doesn't get talked about. So we tend to see, when we're working with clients, about $1 million of annual waste for every 50 people in a group. And if you start doing the math for whatever size organization you're part of, it's a phenomenal amount of paying smart people to do unnecessary work, and that's what we're trying to eliminate.
Yeah, and she said this, which I think rings true to everybody in this industry: we are too busy to be less busy.
That's the problem, yes.
That is the problem. And you also talked about thieves of productivity. So if you can kind of recap those quickly for us.
Sure, so the thieves came out of our research when we studied what makes people busy, and there were actually 33 different things, but that's not a palatable number, so we kind of boiled them down to 4 core drivers that fuel overload. And what was really fascinating is when you get down to the core, they were all positive things, but things that had a tendency to run amok. So they were drive, excellence, information, and activity. And you hear that for those 4 things and you think, well, of course I need to be driven and active, informed. But what you don't realize is how quickly they morph into hyperdrive, perfectionism, information overload, and frenzy. And so when we're working with clients, we're teaching them to be aware of the thieves and to protect their time from this seduction of always finding some other little tiny thing to touch that keeps you really busy and checking off a lot of boxes, but at the end of the day you might feel like you did nothing of value.
Yeah, and this kind of applies for meeting planners. As you know, meeting planners are perfectionists, so everything has to be perfect all the time, and sometimes you know, time can be wasted in places that are maybe not so valuable.
Absolutely, and we didn't have time in the keynote to talk about, in a meeting itself, in the course of the meeting, do you have any time scheduled in for people to just digest and step back and let kind of all the knowledge and information work its way in? Usually the meetings are so back-to-back scheduled with stuff to do that people don't feel like they can take that time. And I think that that's a really critical, important. We say a lot that if you make a roast, you have to let it sit on the counter, and the reason for that before you cut it is so the juices can kind of work their way in. And it's just the same with education. These folks that are behind us are so topped up, and as soon as they have 1 second where they're about to think about how does this apply to me, they're in the next session. And so that's why we love to see white space interlaced through the conventions and meetings themselves as well.
I love that. And for folks to learn more about, you know, white space, the initiatives, and how to really change the workplace, website, more information?
So our primary mode of teaching is digital learning. So it's really nimble and easy, and it can fit into your busy day. And that's you can find out more about that at whitespaceatwork.com.
Awesome. Juliet, always a pleasure speaking with you. I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much. All right, and now we mentioned that MPI-TV is sponsored by Caesars Entertainment, so it is only natural for us to speak with Shelley Williams.
How are you?
Hi, Shelley, one of my favorite people in the industry.
Oh, thank you so much.
Always such a pleasure to speak with you. So, Shelley, you are actually super involved with MPI yourself, right? So,
I am.
Talk about your involvement within the organization.
So it's really one of the things I first did when I joined the industry. It's get involved with the people that have like-minded, connected environments. So I was the Canadian chair for the foundation when I was in Canada, and when I moved to the US, I said I still want to be involved, I still want to give back. So I am also on the US Council as well for the MPI Foundation.
I told you we'd have a lineup of powerful women, and Shelley is obviously one of them. So we are here at IMEX America, always a phenomenal show. It feels like a family reunion in a lot of ways, right?
It does.
So Caesars Entertainment's involvement within IMEX America, what does that look like?
Well, we're here in Power. We have our empires here. We're in Las Vegas in our home. We have our 9 properties here. We are actually hosting a lot of the hosted blocks and on the buyers and the planners here in all of our wonderful properties in Las Vegas. So it's really important for us to be involved and connected. We love the connection that Ray and Katrina brought to us here in Las Vegas. So we're very involved. We have our army here. They're on the floor. If you need anything, please let us know. We're super happy to have IMEX here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and Caesars means business, and you can see that here at IMEX America. So, you know, the importance of IMEX America for the industry. I mean, it's all about business, really, and networking and creating those connections. So, how does this play a huge role, this show, a huge role for Caesars Entertainment?
Well, I think the really important thing for IMEX, and we're really core on that mission, is face-to-face. So these are a time for the planners and the suppliers to meet, planned, purposeful environment, to really share your product, share your knowledge, help solve the issue of the day. So this is a good time for us to be face-to-face. I've talked to so many people, like, I talked to you through email, but I've never really seen you. So it's great to give them a hug and say, yes, I can help you. Tell us how.
There is nothing like a good old face-to-face meeting.
Yes.
That's right, Shelley. Thank you so much.
Thank
I appreciate
you.
it. And best of luck this week at your own meetings.
Absolutely. Are you going to Rendezvous?
I will be at Rendezvous.
Okay.
So,
It's in Dre's. It's a beautiful spot.
Yes, I know.
Thank
I love Dre's, actually. Thank you so much, Shelley. I appreciate it. All right, you guys, so that does it for us on this edition of MPI-TV, sponsored by Caesars Entertainment. But remember, we will have more guests joining us tomorrow and Thursday here at IMEX America. We want to leave you now with a quick look at our sponsor, Caesars Entertainment.